Hey everybody, in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a YouTube podcast playlist. Before the tutorial, make sure to check out our resources in the description below. Free YouTube ebooks, customizable YouTube checklists, exclusive software deals, free trial offers for YouTubers, and many more resources that help you grow your YouTube channel, build a business on it, and make more money from it. Now, back to the tutorial. So if you want to create this new content format called YouTube Podcasts, which is basically a new kind of playlist that can be used to add videos that are basically podcasts. So here's how to create a new YouTube podcast playlist. So first open up YouTube Studio. So go to studio.youtube.com. On the left, click on the content tab. And here you can see podcasts here. So if you click here, then you're going to be able to click on create new podcast here, or wherever you are in the YouTube Studio, you can click on create. And as you can see here, you can also create a new podcast. Let's select this one, and then as you can see, you can also basically set an existing playlist as a podcast. So if you already have a podcast playlist on your YouTube channel, you can set that playlist as a podcast. Here is the instruction to do that. So all you have to do is basically hover over the playlist you want to set as podcast, and then click on the three dots and then select set as a YouTube podcast. If you haven't created a podcast playlist yet, then you can also create a completely new YouTube podcast from scratch. Just click here, then add the name of the podcast, then add a description. So there is a higher chance that people will find this podcast. So give a brief introduction to this podcast and add the main keywords you want people to find this podcast. So if it's a financial education podcast, add personal finance podcast, investing podcast, saving money podcast, making money podcasts. So the main keywords should be also added, so there's a higher chance that people will find your podcast organically from YouTube search or from Discover. Then you have to set the visibility. In most cases that should be set as public, but in this case this is just a test podcast, so I will select unlisted here. Then you have to select the podcast thumbnail. In this case you have to upload a square picture. So click here and upload the square picture. And once the podcast thumbnail is uploaded, just click on create. And now as you can see, the podcast has been created. If you go back, we're going to see the list of our podcasts in this podcast tab. And if we click on the pencil icon and then click on the videos tab on the left, here is where you're going to be able to add videos to this podcast playlist. So if you have already recorded podcasts, you can just add them here. Or if you want to upload a new podcast video, you would click on add videos, upload the video, and then this video would be added to this YouTube podcast playlist. So all in all, this is how to create a YouTube podcast playlist. Alright, if something is still not clear to you, check out our more detailed instructional blog post on 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞. Links to that in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out our free ebooks, checklists, software deals, and templates that help you grow on YouTube and teach you how to make a full-time online business from your YouTube channel.